Hey everybody, One of Wisdom here. This is kind of an awkward video for the main reason it has already been done. For whatever reason, the SD card, despite the video being in 4 separate pieces, has none of them on the camera, on the computer, and card readers. Was done earlier today with my nephew. So I'm kind of having to redo it, so bear with me here. Obviously, without my nephew, it's about 11:45 at night. The good news is this is going to be a course for Legendary Night Shift. We picked up 2. Toys R Us is the only place you can get the Legendary figures, of course, here in the U.S. Retail price $16.99. The really cool thing, Toys R Us still running the buy one get one 40% off, hence why we had one for myself, one for my nephew. The shining light out of this, I guess, is that once we unboxed them, of course, what we both wanted to do was Night Shift versus Legendary Night Shift. So we did that. A couple other battles. We did all the Legendaries against one another. Some Roller Brawl got in there. Quite a few Undeads. Dark Stealth Elf, Mega Ram Spyro, Dark Spyro, Series 3 Dark Spyro, if you will. Probably a few others. But again, main draws, of course, these latest 2 legendaries, Night Shift versus his legendary counterpart, did the same thing with Zulu. Likewise for Free Ranger and Light Core Grim Creeper. That said, it was a really good video, and I'm just going to kind of have to wing it now. So we will go ahead. You've always heard me mention to you, there might be some of you out there that like to kind of repack your Skylanders. You open it up to play with them, or in the case of the swappers, maybe you want to try out a combination, you need the top half or something, and then for display purposes, once you get them maxed out or whatever you need to do, done your combinations, have checked them out in person, you put them back together just to kind of display for people. This is me getting to show you that. This is why I always talk about the tape, the way the packaging is, everything like that. As you can see, no knife in my hand, but with the sleight of a hand, he's open. So we'll run with that. Anyway, Legendary Night Shift, again, Toys R Us exclusive. $16.99 is the standard price. Printed on the label, not a sticker. Looks really good always on the card and the packaging. And then the figure itself is way darker than that. And in the game, it's also darker. That said, you can see here the packaging wheel. This one was actually set to Night Shift. You got Night Shift, Night Drilla, Night Kraken, Night Jet, and back to Night Shift. That's basically your Wave 2 swappers. Again, each time I did that previously, had my nephew here and he was rattling off, I'd say, okay, so Night Drilla is a combination of who? He'd say Night Drilla, or I'm sorry, Night Shift and Grilla Drilla. Then we repeated it the whole way through. Obviously, I can't mimic that. So, that said, Night Shift. He is, of course, a Swap Force character, meaning literally he is a swapper. He is from the Undead element. His slogan, roll with the punches, and his Swap Force ability is teleport. Again, right here at this point in the video is where I said, and who is the other teleport Skylander, my nephew, and he rattles off Hoot Loop. And then I came back to this side and I said, who is our other Undead Skylander, Swap Force character, that is, that of course is Rattle Shake. You can see his head there. He wasn't here at the pool table at the time. My nephew actually had to run over to the TV, grab him, bring him back over here. So that said, before I forget, in this frame, you can actually see Chase McCain, somewhat of Chase McCain. My nephew picked out where to hide him. Wish I would have had the reaction my nephew had when he saw the Skylines when he came up. But anyway, we'll get back to that. What I do want to mention before we actually open this guy up, finish up the unboxing, got him today, probably, I don't know, 1:32-ish at Toys R Us. Somehow, in the course of what we did this afternoon, I picked up 5 Street Pass tags. That was kind of cool. One from North Carolina, so that was pretty sweet. Did not have that region. Nonetheless, want to cover the stock. There was plenty of stock on Legendary Night Shift. I'd say probably like strung out on that front area. Probably 4 pegs of them. Didn't look to be any of them gone, really. Probably more in this other Skylander section, probably more than that in the back. Bigger than that, though, there was tons of stock on Legendary Zulu and Light Core Grim Creeper, and then, of course, Legendary Free Ranger, which you can see there beside the portal. 3DS portal, that is. He was actually well stocked. He had been out of every character outside of Lightcore, Smolder Dash. I don't know what it is about her in my area. Hard to come by. Legendary Free Ranger at Toys R Us had been very hard to find, to be one of those things like two on a peg somewhere. He might be behind like Magna Charge or Free Rangers Regular Edition, etc. But the good news is, it looks like they have kind of been getting steady shipments or replenishments in on their legendaries, and most importantly, though, for today, plenty of legendary Night Shift. Case in point, I went to check. It was crowded when I went in there. I hate going in again. Last week on Monday, I had a dental appointment. That's why I didn't go in Sunday. It was packed today. There was like 7 or 8 ladies in the Skylanders section. They were actually picking up storage. Go figure. I was glad to see they went with the stackable tackle box, but another story, another day. No issues with me getting 2 of them. Again, I was in there solo, but they either know me well enough or, who knows what it is. But bottom line, plenty of stock at my local store. If your store for some reason didn't have the stock, they should be getting it. And most importantly, it looks like they will have quite a bit. Plus, if you somehow missed out on Legendary Free Ranger, this is the first time I've really seen him back in like mass quantities. That said, we're going to go ahead, come around to the backside here. Again, look at the in-game screenshot. That is significantly darker than the artwork that you see on the packaging and on the card. But Legendary Night Shift, create 250 plus combinations. He is, of course, a teleport for his swap zone power. Cool thing here, they featured Spyrise, Stink Bomb, Rubble Rouser, and Magna Charge. Kind of makes me wonder if we won't maybe see all 3 of those in the next wave or something. That said, here I asked my nephew which of those was his favorite. I eliminated Magna Charge because we've already got him. He picked Rubble Rouser. Proud of him because that is who I would pick. I think there's a lot of potential there, though. But when in doubt, I go with the Earth Element, so that'll be pretty sweet. That said, I'd really love to see a stealth swapper. We kind of got some stuff we need to do, 3DS and Wii U. Nonetheless, being a Swap Force character, true swapper, as you can see, won't work in SSA or Giants, but perfectly fine here in Swap Force. So, again, with the magic of having already done this, we'll go ahead and open this up. Again, this is my favorite view here on the swappers. I just like kind of the open feel. The card isn't there or anything. The card is actually kept underneath, as you might have guessed, since I was bragging about how easy it was to repack. No tape on that little name tag there at the bottom, so we'll just leave that there. My nephew thought this was really cool. Of course, I mentioned my favorite part of unboxing these guys. You got that 45-degree angle. You break them down and they come apart. So what I like to do, of course, come in with the base. The good news is these do repackage pretty well and pretty easily. I've never actually done it because I obviously, as you can see, keep mine out. But I mean, that second time now I could go back together. The cards are usually tucked in right there. Of course, we pulled those. We had a nice segment there with my nephew and I when we did the math on everything. And where on earth? There it is. That worked out well. Anyway, what you get is his stat card. As you can see, the artwork there matches the front of the box. He looks really good there. Significantly darker in the game. Behind that, we get a sticker sheet. Again, basically the same artwork, a lighter blue. Name tag, however, for you storage and neat freaks. Or if you just put it on the poster, whatever you do with it, it does indicate that he is different. And it actually, in my opinion, is a better color match to the actual figure and the gameplay than it is on the card. That said, below that is a web code for the iOS games. This is where in the last video I made sure to plug the fact Skylanders Battlegrounds, you saw me unbox that for the iOS. GameStop has the exclusive Royal Double Trouble figure. It is now available for Android. So those of you that have been asking, I've had a ton of people inquiring about it. It was just towards the middle of last week, I believe. You can now actually go in and download that. The stats for Legendary Night Shift: power, check that out, 190 of 200. Armor, 95 of 200. Agility, 150 of 200. And luck, 50 of 200. Come in here, we're going to go ahead and do the comparison. Power for Night Shift, 180. That is negative 10 or plus 10 for the Legendary Night Shift. Again, I had my nephew doing the math. Interesting thing here. 100 is the armor for Night Shift, and it's only 95 on Legendary Night Shift, so that's -5 Legendary version. It does make up for it here with agility. 145 versus 150, that's +5. Which you can't see my thumb, but +5. Now you can't see the pinky. You get the idea. +5 for Legendary Night Shift. And then on luck, it's 45 versus 50, so +5 for Legendary Night Shift. Putting it all together, we have +10 on power, -5 on armor, +5 on agility, and +5 on luck. That, of course, puts him at a total of +20, and then deductions on armor, -5, leaves Legendary Night Shift +15 over Standard Night Shift. So, kind of an interesting little thing there. Again, my personal opinion on the Legendaries. Obviously, I like to see the attributes be a little bit higher than their standard counterparts, but what bothers me is when one of the attributes is actually lower, like you see with the armor indicated on the card. I feel like if they just wanted the power to be +10 and the luck to be +5, that's great. Leave the other two stats the same, but I don't like seeing them actually go negative on the Legendary. Again, not quite sure what the logic is there, but it is what it is. So, again, that was probably a little more interesting when I had my nephew crunching the numbers, try to slip that type of stuff in there. Let's go ahead and take a look at Legendary Night Shift. Again, his slogan, roll with the punches. Have to say, my nephew did like this bottom end. I do too. However, we both kind of like the other end a little bit better. My nephew thought the top end of Legendary looked really menacing. Do have to agree with him in the game. He kind of, with the hair, I don't know what it is, but on that little HD screenshot, when he's there in battle mode, he just looks like a really old guy. It's kind of funny. But doesn't really have that effect, even though it seems like it would with Night Shift. He kind of just looks like a vampire boxer. For whatever reason, that dark blue and the gold hair just... I don't know, I picture it's like something I would see in Miami, or something at a retirement community. It kind of, I think the red on that kind of ties in with the Baron, count type background, whereas this just kind of looks like a retirement robe or something. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Who knows? I do like this, though, again, the Undead logo on the gloves, but it actually kind of has a bit more of a downtrod there, as opposed to being like a flush skull, and that kind of gives it the indication of like fangs or the vampire vibe going on. Of course, there on the belt you have the same thing. I have to say he looks pretty good. Just me personally, when you have these two guys side by side, I have to say I prefer the Standard Night Shift. Again, the bottom end of him looks really sinister. It's like that charcoal, smoky, haunting color, if you will. It does translate well up top. It's just that, I don't know, I like the gold on the gloves. The hair is like a little much in gold for me. I don't know. Granted, it would have looked weird if it was white, like on Standard Night Shift. But for whatever reason, a lot of the times the characters just significantly look better in their standard form. That said, I do like the attributes. The big draw here, of course, if you're a fan of Night Shift, you pick up Legendary Night Shift, you can actually take both pass for the top and the bottom. You're covered. You have two unique characters in the game, so that's always a perk. He is joined, of course, the other Undead Element Swap Force character is Rattle Shake. He, of course, has the painstakingly ridiculous quick draw Rattle Shake from the Frito-Lay promo. Did finally win one of those. It actually went through. I won one that didn't go through. Frito-Lay decided not to respond to me. Haven't made a video about that because I'm still pretty ticked off about the entire thing. Won't go into great detail here because I want to try to focus on this. But pretty cool. We have both of the Undead Swappers. The main thing, though, they were out ahead of Halloween. I realized Legendary wasn't, its standard counterpart was. And the cool thing, though, even though it's a botch deal with Frito-Lay, each of them has a different character in the game that you can use for the other path if you're so inclined. Do want to also mention, he joins as the only other Legendary Swap Force character, if you will, Legendary Free Ranger right there. Then we've got Legendary Zulu. Of course, he came out last Sunday, November 3rd. And then at launch, just like Legendary Free Ranger, we had Legendary Lightcore Grim Creeper joining, of course. Legendary Lightcore Chill is our only Lightcore Legendaries. The big perk here you can see Series 3 Twin Blade Chop Chop. Then we've got Standard Edition, Light Core Grim Creeper. And, of course, Roller Brawl. She was an absolute beast today in battle mode. So that kind of gives you an update there. Basically, I think all we're really missing is standard, regular, standalone Grim Creeper. So pretty cool. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and cover his background story. And my nephew actually covered this early in the video last time, which worked out really well, and I just kind of, went from there. But from high up in the gloomy Bat Trip Mountains, Night Shift was a full-fledged baron and heir to a great fortune. But one day he decided to leave it all behind to pursue his dreams as a prize fighter. It wasn't long before Night Shift became the undefeated Phantomweight champion of Skylanders, famous for his massive uppercut and having once bitten an opponent in the ring. Unfortunately, a rule change made teleportation illegal, and Night Shift was forced to give up his belt, officially ending his career as a boxer. Crestfallen over being disqualified from a sport he loved so dearly, his spirits picked up when he was sought out by Master Eon, who told him that his skill as a fighter could be put to great use as a member of the Skylands. Very cool story there. Only way it could have been better is if it was T-Bone that actually said he should become a Skylander. Any chance I get to plug T-Bone, I certainly will. Probably you have to go with Flynn, of course, but as your favorite non-playable character, I think for everyone in most cases. Some might prefer Callie. But T-Bone, I mean, outside of like the major character, he was really cool. Again, if you haven't played SSA, pick that up. His levels still to date remain my favorite in the Skylanders franchise. But that said, he is out again. This is the 10th of November. That's the day that he was slated to come out. He actually did come out. That always works out well. Toys R Us is where you can pick him up. $16.99 is the retail price. Again, not only was there plenty of stock on Legendary Night Shift, Legendary Free Ranger reappeared in mass quantities. Zulu still well stocked. It looked like Light Core Grim Creeper had been replenished as well. There were tons of those guys. The other thing I wanted to mention, I did see Boomjet, Firecracker, Drilla. They were all well stocked, the Wave 2s, including several night shifts as well. So, again, I really wish, and I hope that this time the SD card actually kind of stays in tune, and I don't lose this video as well. Third time is the charm, but I really don't want to go there. But it was a really cool video with my nephew. Thanks to him for helping me, even though somehow the files are on my SD card and not usable. So I will leave it at that. The good news, though, from that, with these two guys out, we squared them off. Night Shift versus Legendary Night Shift. That video, probably live on my channel, should be halfway-ish uploaded to his. We did all the legendaries. You'll see Zulu versus Legendary Zulu, Free Ranger versus Legendary Free Ranger. Same with Grim Creeper. Again, Dark Stealth Elf, Dark Spiral, Roller Brawl. Quite a few little matches in there, about close to 30 minutes on it. So be sure to check that out. But again, released today, Sunday, November 10th, we have Legendary Night Shift, following on the heels, of course, of Legendary Zulu. Next week, they claim they'll have their exclusive Dino Ring. Again, I don't know if it's going to be anything special, like the Boomerang's a different color, or if that was just like a really bad ad. It could just be that they're recirculating the single packs, and they're going to be the only one that gets the shipment. As I learn more, I'll definitely keep you posted. That said, thank you kindly for watching. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my nephew's channel, The Walkthrough King. He's got a blog as well, thewalkthroughking.blogspot.com. Again, this works much better when he's there to plug it with me. But that said, we will leave it at this. Again, make sure to check out our newest battle mode video. And as Night Shift and Legendary Night Shift would say, roll with the punches.